Welcome to Horror Shadows, where the darkest tales come to life. I'm your host, and tonight, we're diving into 3 true, scary stories that all happened at the witching hour, midnight. These are tales of dread, suspense, and the macabre, submitted by viewers like you. Turn off the lights, grab your headphones, and let's begin. This first story comes from Emily, a 28-year-old from Ohio. She swears it's true, and it still keeps her awake at night. In 2019, Emily moved into a century-old house in a quiet rural town. The place was charming but creaky, with an attic she never bothered to explore. One night, at exactly midnight, she was jolted awake by a faint whisper coming from above her bedroom ceiling. It wasn't words she could make out, just a low, rasping sound, like someone breathing too close to her ear. She froze, heart pounding, convincing herself it was just the house settling. The next night, it happened again, midnight on the dot. This time the whisper was clearer, forming a single word: stay. Emily's blood ran cold. She checked the attic the next morning, finding nothing but dust and cobwebs. But every night at midnight, the whisper returned, growing louder, more insistent. Stay! 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 It sounded desperate, almost angry. One night, Emily couldn't take it anymore. Armed with a flashlight, she climbed the attic stairs at 11:55 p.m. The air felt thick, oppressive, like it was pushing against her chest. At midnight, the whisper came, not from the attic, but behind her. She spun around, her flashlight catching a glimpse of something, tall, thin, and impossibly dark, like a shadow with no source. Its eyes were hollow, and it reached out with skeletal fingers. Emily screamed and stumbled down the stairs, never looking back. She moved out the next week. The new tenants later told her they heard whispers too, always at midnight. This next story was sent in by Marcus, a truck driver from Nevada, who experienced something he'll never forget. In 2022, Marcus was driving a late-night route through the desert. At midnight, he pulled into a rundown gas station, the only light for miles. The place was empty except for a man standing motionless by the pumps, staring at the ground. He wore a tattered coat, his face obscured by a hood. Marcus figured he was a drifter and ignored him, heading inside to pay. The cashier, an older woman, looked uneasy. When Marcus mentioned the man outside, her face paled. "There's no one out there," she whispered. Marcus glanced back. The man was still there, now staring directly at him through the glass. His face was wrong. Like it was melting, eyes too large, mouth stretched into an unnatural grin. Marcus blinked, and the man was gone. Shaken, he hurried to his truck. As he pulled away, he glanced in his rear-view mirror. The man was standing in the middle of the road, grinning, his head tilted at an impossible angle. Marcus floored it, his heart racing. Miles later, he checked his mirror again. The man was in the back of his truck, pressed against the rear window, still grinning. Marcus swerved, screaming, and when he looked again, the man was gone. He never stopped at that gas station again. But sometimes, late at night, he swears he sees that grinning face in his mirrors, always at midnight. Our final story comes from Sarah, a college student in Maine who discovered something in her dorm that wasn't on any floor plan. In 2023, Sarah lived in an old dorm building known for strange noises. One night at midnight, she heard a faint knocking from the end of her hallway. Curious, she followed the sound to a rusted metal door she'd never noticed before. It was unmarked, with no handle, just a keyhole. The knocking stopped when she approached, but she felt an overwhelming sense of dread, like something was watching her from the other side. The next night, at midnight, the knocking returned. This time she saw the door slightly ajar, a sliver of pitch-black darkness inside. Against her better judgment, she pushed it open. The air inside was freezing, and the room was empty, except for a single chair facing the wall. On the chair sat a figure, hunched, motionless, its back to her. Its head was wrong, too large, and it was humming a low, guttural tune. Sarah backed away, but the door slammed shut behind her. The figure began to turn, its neck cracking as it moved. She grabbed the door, yanking it open, and ran without looking back. The next day she checked the hallway. The door was gone, like it had never existed. But every night at midnight she hears that same guttural humming, faint but unmistakable, coming from her own walls. That's all for tonight's Chilling Tales. If these stories sent shivers down your spine, hit that like button and subscribe to Horror Shadows for more true horror stories. Have a terrifying tale of your own? Share with us and it might be featured in our next video. Sleep tight if you dare.